Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Cast Out with Your Pods Out podcast. I'm your host, the chairman, with my guest.
Hey, what's up? I'm DJ Pebbles.
Hey guys, it's me, Kitty Sapphire. I'm here to... Well, I'm just here for today. I'm tired.
It's okay. You know, that's how the dice roll sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know. Sorry, guys. I know I'm here and I'm happy to be with you guys, but it's just like, it's been a long night. I will not lie. Because that's never been my bag.
I got you. So we were just talking earlier. So who here has played Dungeons and Dragons?
Me. And no, I'm not warming my voice up right at this given second, but no, me, I
played once.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I love it.
I miss it so much.
Well, you could still play it. It's just that, unfortunately, you can't play it in person right now.
I know. I used to play at the local shop. It was just it's just interesting to see how many different types of people actually came and play.
No, I completely agree with that. I used to go, there's actually a local shop not far from my house, at least good 5 minutes away. And they used to do like a D&D session for beginners every Sunday.
The Adventure Leagues.
And you saw a lot of people. Some people were willing to teach others how to properly play. You had
How to create a character.
First DMer, like first time DMer is coming by and teaching a lot of the new people to how to basically play the game. And you had some people with all different types of walks of life, and I was like, oh wow, I appreciated the mixture of different people. So it was nice, it really was. It's just, it's kind of hard now.
Yeah, but
you could do it online though, but I have this thing on my page on my computer called Fantasy Grounds, and that's usually very helpful if you want to keep up your D&D gaming and want to do it online. But
I get
you won't. Huh?
No, so I get you. It just doesn't have that same feel of being in the same room as somebody else.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to start a game using Tabletop Simulator, but I have a problem with it.
Why? What's wrong with Tabletop Simulator?
I don't know how to use it.
Well,
but the easy way.
That's the beauty of I believe YouTube.
Even the tutorials have kind of gotten me confused. I will not lie to you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm a crazy guy. Let's say I'm a smart guy. I'm kind of a crazy guy. But you can definitely call me a smart donkey. Just not when it comes to Tabletop Simulator's interface.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was trying to make a...
That was weird.
I was trying to get away with saying ass without getting in trouble.
That was just weird.
Yeah,
I tried.
I'm sorry, I kind of spaced out a little bit, so I wasn't like, huh? I don't think it's that detrimental.
Yeah, I know it
kind of failed.
Yeah, that's why I kind of gave up halfway. But there's worse jokes out there that I can tell, like the one I used to love telling it during games when I played as a halfling.
You could have dad jokes, like really bad.
If you want a really bad dad joke, I got one real easy for you.
Okay, go.
All right, so I know we're supposed to be talking about D&D, but this is actually in the middle of a game. So I go to the barkeep and tell him. So Roman walks into a bar. The bartender says, "How many beers would you like?" The Roman raises his hand up and sticks up his pointer and his middle finger in the shape of a V. He says, 5 beers, please. Now,
oh god.
Oh, it gets worse. Don't you worry. As the night gone on, the bartender says, "Hey, Roman, do you want any more beer?" He puts his arms up in a cross across his chest, saying, "No more beers." The bartender didn't hear him and brought him 10 more. As the night went on, the Roman goes, I want some more beer, barkeep. Says, "I'm cutting you off." He's like, "Why is that?" It's like, he says, "You're obviously drunk." So the Roman goes, "No, I'm not." Then the barkeep says, "Oh yeah?" Puts up his pointer and his middle finger in the shape of a V. "How many fingers am I holding up?" He laughs, saying, "5."
I see.
And that was supposed to be a distraction, as my team was robbing the place.
Oh, great, lovely.
I don't get it.
Okay, so
V is a Roman numeral for 5.
and X is for 10.
Oh, you said V, not B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a little more
see?
sense now. I
And
was like,
See, that's the
wait,
best thing about D&D. You can have, depending on who's your
how
DM,
is it how is it a B equals 5? And I was trying to figure that out.
yeah, it's I will not lie. Due to the fact that I'm an avid fan of Final Fantasy, that's how I learned Roman numerals. I looked at me personally, I
Oh
love
yeah, no, I know Roman numerals. I just didn't hear him say B. It's B. It sounded like B.
B as in boy. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
or Victor.
Yeah, B as in beer.
Okay, nope.
So I heard the letter B, not V.
Okay.
That's why I was really confused.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. I was a little bit
Yeah, no, I know
you're
Roman
saying.
numerals,
Okay, so I was like,
but yeah.
But, yeah. Back on topic, though. So that's the one thing I love about D&D. Depending on your DM, some of them make you roleplay a bit more, and you can come up with some crazy situations and stunts you want to try pulling. Like, I remember one time I went to go pee on an enemy's grave after they wiped
gee,
out our team. I
I mean, I understand
wait.
that, that person is your enemy, but you could show a little bit more class, jeez.
No. This guy literally, first off, at the time, it was a botch exchange deal going on. We came outside. One of our teammates just started a fight with a bunch of bandits, and I ended up. Mind you, this character I was playing was a halfling rogue, so he's about 3 foot and just has a rapier jumping around like Jack Sparrow on crack. And I ended up literally putting a halfling-sized hole through a man's chest by diving through him with my sword, causing the other guy to get pissed off. And, well, long story short, I was one of the few people that ran away in our group. Everybody else got knocked out. When I went back to go there, now this is the part that's what I mean by when you have a funny DM. When I said that, he told me to roll for dexterity. Unfortunately, he rolled higher than me. You know what happened?
What?
He struck me with lightning
Oh, dang.
and caused me instant down because I was very pissed. And I had a flaw now that whenever I hear the name Derek would cause the character to get really, really mad and possibly exert a little bit angered to the point of attacking.
That's kind of messed up.
It's
Actually, that's not kinda. It is messed up.
it's
What am I
funny.
saying?
That's funny
I
though.
mean, no, it's funny, but it's also messed up.
There's
I
also a
won't deny
DM
that.
that has the scroll of death that he carries with him.
Okay, why?
And this is something I think a lot of DMs should do. Essentially, if you have a player that's doing something obviously stupid, where it's
Right.
like, let's stick my hand in a bear trap and see if it clamps down.
That's dumb.
Yeah, like that level where the DM kind of asks them like 2 to 3 times, "Are you sure this is really what you want to do? Are you sure you want to stick your hand in the bear trap? Are you sure you want to try setting it off?"
Yeah.
So whenever somebody dies, the character's permanent death with that DM, so you can't reuse that character even if it was an Adventure League game. And because of that, he had the characters' names written down on a scroll that he carries around for each game and has the player sign their name and the character.
What is this? A freaking Death Note?
No, it's more like the Reaper Scroll. Like these characters are dead and cannot come back in that game, or any of the games he would run. It's that, like I said, if you have a good DM, a lot of cool things can happen. Kid, do you have any stories you want to share from D&D?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, I'm trying to think that ones that were actually full on funny. Well, we have maybe it doesn't have specifically. I'm trying to think anything from my perspective. I don't think so specifically. However, there is a. Oh, okay. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. I had to really think about it. One okay. There's this. We had basically originally we had 6 people in our group. We had six. Uh, we had 6 people in our group, but unfortunately, one of our group members, got a new job, and he left our group because it wasn't guaranteed he was going to stay with us. But throughout the whole entire time that particular player was here, we had this module that we played. We played modules from the series of Barovia. If you guys don't know what that is
No, God.
Ravenloft. Hmm?
Say, I know Bravovia.
Uh,
I can't pronounce it
I,
correctly because I have trouble with for some reason with that word.
Barovia.
Yeah, for some reason I can't pronounce it.
Well, it's all right. So yeah, Barovia. Uh, Unfortunately, um, um,
It's a
there's it's basically, for those who don't know, it's Barovia is basically the area similar to like Romania. It's mainly a section in D&D where it has like a gothic horror based theme. Think of Castlevania, you know, think of Castlevania, think of any, story with
Lovecraftian.
Dracula, not Lovecraftian. Not
Yeah.
Lovecraftian because it doesn't deal with eldritch beings at all.
Oh, you're
But
right. You're right. My bad.
think of like gothic horror esque stuff, and definitely you'll be right at home with Barovia. Um, but the reason why I bring this up is because one of the characters always had beef with my character.
That's always
And he
fun.
would constantly tease each other, tease me. I was a tabaxi who had a little bit of a history and a chip on her shoulder, and she had this really nifty scar or emblem on her shoulder. So every time she would get close to necrotic or based undead, depending on the rolls that I threw that day, it could lead to a very painful reaction, which would hinge on her personality. If she's like in extreme pain, she'll be very agitated and overly aggressive. But if the pain is not so severe, she's a little bit, more calm, and yeah, she's a little bit more calm. But I digress. So, the reason why I bring this up is there was one. We've done quite a few modules around that particular area, since it seemed like nobody wanted to do an actual authentic fight with Strahd, which to this very day I'm still sitting here and wanting somebody to do a like a Curse of Strahd run. It could be homebrew, it could be from the book. I don't care. It's just I
It's
want
kind of
a
hard to
I
do that when you have Well, for those who don't know anything about Shran, he is essentially Dracula, and he cannot die unless you do like, what was it, like 13 steps or something like that?
I don't remember because, like I said, there really isn't there
Anyone who wants
really
to run it, yeah.
yeah, so I don't really know too much to the full extent about it. And then when they show it on the internet, I purposely leave because I don't want to be spoiled. I understand that, to a certain extent, if even if you were to get a chance to do the mod, it will end up to be different than
Whatever the person you
um
saw did, because it depends on the
right,
DM, the roles,
right, exactly. I think there's a couple of other things that you have to do beforehand, before you um, get a chance to even play the game. So even so, it's still, I still would like to play it, but I digress. The reason why I bring this up, there are a couple of instances where my character got into a little trouble. One of those troubles where we actually had to deal with a crew of orcs. Sorry, not orcs. These snake people.
Oh, I know what
I
you're talking about. I'll look it
I
up real
think they're
quick.
called Chianti, or something like that. Anyway, the Chianti had a bunch of orcs, and I was rolling some really crappy rolls that day. And the character Theodore, the one that was constantly getting on my nerves because he had this whiny voice, and my character really hated his whiny voice. Anyway, he was trying to charm the orcs to get out of the way because we were trying to get down to a well because there was a couple of items that we needed down there, and they were blocking the way under, of course, under the rulership of the Conti. But I digress, or the Chianti. Anyway,
Yante.
huh?
Yanti.
Yanti, sorry, thank you,
It's okay.
for helping. So, so, um,
Tell me one of you drop kicked one
while
of
they
them
were
into the
trying to
well.
charm it, I suggested no, actually, I suggested, and may I mind you, jokingly, to seduce them. And I was like, oh, maybe I should seduce them or something like that, and everybody was laughing and yada, yada, yada. And because I said this because my rolls were pretty poor throughout the day. So I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, this is not going to work. I rolled, I got a natural 20.
Oh my fuck.
I was so pissed. I was like, what? Are
The
you
one
freaking kidding
time
me?
you got a
The one
damn
time.
20.
So basically, my character basically approached them, and since she's a cat girl, the way I described her is she has hands and feet like a cat does, but her midsection is humanoid, her face is humanoid, and she has slightly tan skin. So
Maid cafe cat. Gotcha.
yeah, pretty much. When I do a tabaxi, more or less, I'll draw a cat girl design uh, uh, to go with the situation. More or less, not the actual like fur aspect. I mean, sometimes I do that, but it's a very
Yeah.
rare thing. But
So what
anyway,
happened?
so um, basically, I said, "Oh, well, hello, fellas. How are you?" And it's like, can you just help me with uncovering this lock down here? And I promise that you could, do some very unusual, unmentionable things. Uh, and they bought it. They bought it. And may I mind you, my partner is is part of this D&D group. So, as a joke, they wanted me to act out on my partner. And it was embarrassing because he was acting all creepy, and I was like, this is just like the most embarrassing thing ever. And I was like, my DM is so cruel, it's not even funny. I mean, no,
Yeah.
I love my partner, but to do it in front of everybody is like,
They gotta at least
really,
pay first. I
really,
mean, come on.
really,
Nobody gets a free
huh?
show. Say nobody
Say
gets a free
again?
show. They should have paid first.
But I digress.
Yeah.
So with that said, I managed to get them down into the basement, down into the well portion or the whole area that they were guarding. Uh, rescued the annoying group member, Theodore. His name was Theodore, and by the end, they were expecting a little, a little
Toss in
of
the
the
hay.
extra action. Yeah, but I beat the daylights out of them. I killed them both, but it's like it's just
That's
that,
that's messed up. Giving them blue balls and then giving them blue,
huh?
giving them blue balls and then giving them a blue face to match it. That's messed up.
Hey, I didn't listen. I wasn't expecting something like that. Here I am, uh, you know, um, having crappy rolls, and
And then
then
the
next thing you
one
know
good
it,
roll,
yeah.
you
So
seduce a bunch of orcs.
yeah. So if anybody, the person who should be upset is me. So yeah, in that regard, sorry.
Uh, and Pebbles, do you have any stories from D&D you want to share, or the one time you
I
played?
played it once. It was really bad.
Oh no.
Oh,
Never played it again since. Never
I'm
wanted to.
sorry.
It was just like a horrible experience.
I am so sorry for that.
I'm sure I would have enjoyed it if it wasn't rushed and if people didn't like yell at me for asking questions regarding like filling out the like stupid
Why?
character
mm.
sheets.
Wwhy should they yell at you?
So
See, it's
on
players like that screw up
so
everything.
honestly I
Yeah,
just
that can.
like got completely turned off from wanting to ever try D&D ever again. I
Oh, I'm
enjoy I
sorry.
enjoy the memes. I like hearing people's stories about it, but I don't play it. So I have
Gee,
no
I'm
story.
sorry.
Sorry.
One of these days, if I can get the tabletop simulator work, we get Narcisio to be a DM. We'll tr- and I will make it. I will try to make you a pre-made character sheet so that you just tell me what
Yeah.
sounds best, and we will shit up. Actually, you know what would be a good one for her?
What?
Kitty, do you think have you ever played Day at the Races?
Day at
Like
the
the Marx
races.
Brothers movie.
No, there's a campaign story. It's
Called
called Day
Day
at
at
the
the.
Races.
Is that in
There's also a Marx Brothers
is
movie
that in
called The Day
Schultz?
of the Races.
Give me 1 second.
Is that in Schultz? If so, then yes, I have played um Day in the Races, and it is fun. And ironically enough, if it is what I think it is, my character, I have another character who's practically blind. She won the Day at the Races.
That hmm.
Where is that? Is that in
I'm
Schultz?
trying. I'm trying to look it up right now. The cool thing about Day at the Races is, depending on the DM, they can alter certain aspects. Like I remember running through it twice. At one point, there's an actual contest where you had to try to gather runes from the bottom of a pool. Another one, but there's obviously the main beginning initial race. Let's see what it's in. You said where was it again? Cult?
Schultz.
Schult. Okay. See, I can't pronounce. Yeah, it's the one in Schult.
Then yeah, I have another cat girl character. She's an assassin. And she's blind. And she actually won. She's blind in the sense of like Daredevil blind. She's blind, but she it go like she can see people through sonar.
Okay.
Uh,
But do
um,
you think that would be a good starter campaign for Pebbles?
yeah, I think that one is good. That one is actually very simple and is very fun. You don't have to really do crazy obscene things.
You just gotta get lucky and creative while you try to take down the races.
Yeah.
Huh. That actually started in 2017. Weird. Anywho, speaking of D&D, I have two shows I would always recommend whenever the conversation comes up.
Regarding
One
D&D?
is Harmon Quest on Verve.
Never heard of it.
Pebbles, have you heard of that show?
Which show?
Harmon Quest?
Nope.
Essentially, one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty said, "You know what? The depressed one, Dan Harmon. He says, you know what? I want to play D&D with a bunch of funny people. Let's do that and then animate all the funniest bits." And it is hysterical. Because you see what happens when you get a bad roll, having a good DM, and some of the
Yeah,
just
it
really
sucks.
shenanigans you can do.
And
And
then
the other show I was going to recommend, we were speaking about this in the green room earlier, was Dragon Prince. I feel like is a great show to put you in the D&D mood. Would you agree, Pebbles?
I guess.
Well, the whole fantasy elements, the different magics. I was trying to think of a clever way to loop us into that, like the conversation we spoke about earlier. I'm not doing good today, am I?
no, you're doing fine. And also,
Yeah.
you just cut yourself a break. You
I am.
know?
I was just trying to be silly. But
Yeah.
if you have Netflix, I'd definitely recommend that show as well if you're a fan of D&D. Because there's a lot of cool magical items and things that do happen. And I have to say one of my favorite characters is, I gotta get her name correct. It's the fact that this is a badass female knight who literally take on like an army by herself at one point in the show on a lava bridge.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm talking about, right, Pebbles?
Yeah.
What is her name?
Don't know.
Here you go. Amaya. Now, here's the best part about Amaya, in my opinion, that
Mhm.
makes her a bit funnier. She has a co-captain, which his name is. Where is it? Darn you, Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is okay.
I know, just trying to. Well, she has a translator with her at all times because she's actually mute.
She's mute?
Yep, she speaks in full sign language the whole time, accompanied by a gentleman named Gren. So, in the way they do it, they don't really mention it. They just kind of just speak and just completely normal. Shows that she could still be a badass and not have to say a single damn word. I think it's done fairly well.
Hmm.
I guess I'm not selling it well because you know what? I'm bad at describing things at times. I like the character because you know what? A lot of times you've just seen her be a hero, being a cat, like what a hero should be in the medieval world.
Fair enough.
She's willing to fight to the very last man defending her people and sending them away, so she stays behind to take care of the full brunt of the fight. Pebbles, how would you describe the show?
Um, Dragon Prince, right?
Yeah.
It's a fun show. I really enjoy it. Um, it's got good characters. Um, it's been a while since I've watched it. There hasn't been a new season out for a while. But it's it's enjoyable. The story's fun. You got dragons, so like that was immediately what drew me to it, just because I love dragons. So anything that has dragons in it,
Restful da.
Basically, yeah, I'll like that. I'll like it, or I'll at least give it a shot. And I enjoyed it. It's got elves and magic, and
Got an interesting art style too, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a 3D aspect similar to Ruby. Based on what I've seen, I'm not gonna say.
I feel like it
You
moves
know,
a bit better than Ruby, to be honest.
yes, it does. I would have to say that. Like I said, I only seen a little bit of it. I haven't seen like a huge amount of it. But yeah, it's definitely, as far as movement is concerned, definitely better.
And unfortunately, it has what I call dubbed the Netflix blush. Now, it's gonna sound weird, but if you look at a lot of Netflix original shows, it seems like every character, at least usually the main characters, they have some sort of. Sometimes it's freckles, but there's usually like a red splotchy area from underneath the eyes from side to side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Pebbles, what's that one thing you were talking about earlier that you didn't like about the show?
oh, okay. So what's her name? The main girl, the elf
Give me one
in
second.
it. Uh,
Oh god.
There's so many characters. Nope, that's the main antagonist. All these elves are so similar. Oh, Rayla, there we go.
Rayla. Okay, Rayla. Rayla's a great character, and I like her. There's just one thing that bothers me about her, and that's the whoever her voice actress is, she tends sometimes Rhea has a Scottish accent. Sometimes she doesn't.
Be
So,
consistent, people.
like, it's just like usually I love accents. Accents don't bother me at all. And I have no problem of like hearing an accent in like a animated character. But if you're gonna do an accent, keep the accent consistent. Like, I don't understand why it tends like the accent drops randomly. And it throws me off because it's like, wait, didn't you have an accent? Like the scene before, didn't you have an accent?
But then again, she's also kind of a very moody character, so maybe it could be a mood kind of thing.
So mood swing accents? No, that's stupid.
I know it sounds stupid, but you gotta like in the show, the elves are
And
very emotional creatures.
but also like she's out of all the elves we've met from her tribe of elves, she's the only one that has an accent.
That could be leading up to a story in like book 4, maybe.
Yeah, but like I said, it bothers me that it drops. Either like keep it consistent or don't have an accent at all. Like did the character need an accent? No. Like it didn't really do anything different for her character. Like so that's just what I think. But otherwise it's a great show. Watch it. Like you might like it, you might not, but yeah.
So basically, that's your pet peeve,
It is, it's a pet peeve, yeah.
which is fair. Everybody, I believe,
Mhm.
everybody has one when it comes to their material. Like for instance, I don't. I like now. I guess nowadays some of my pet peeves is lack of of diverse in character building. Like actually, I got into a conversation with my partner about this beforehand. Um, um, a lot of cases, you either are a like my partner was saying that they miss the old, like, no bars, no need villain. Like, villains that actually like being evil. And there's no hidden, definition of why they're evil.
It's not because of some
Um,
tragic past.
yeah, because of tragic past that you make them feel sorry for themselves. It's okay to have those, but not have those all the time. Sometimes they're so people like uh sort of like static characters, not because of the fact that, it's because of they don't want to use their brains, but depending on how they're written, they can prove to be very, very entertaining. They can be over the top, and very zealous and comical if given the chance to be.
Kind of like Jesse and James from Pokemon, to a
Yeah,
degree.
they're ridiculously evil.
But
They're
then you
ridiculous,
grow into loving them because of their antics, and that makes you want to learn about them.
right? I
They're still
mean,
evil no matter what they do, they
yeah,
show
I
a human
mean,
side of them.
well,
But that's
the
not their main
human
story arc, though. Like, whenever
they're
you see them, they're
right.
there to be evil.
There
Not
is a
to...
human side to them. One one aspect was when they went back to excuse me, my apologies.
It's okay.
James's
Oh,
childhood home.
fiance. Oh, that...
Yeah, and you got to meet his fiance, you got to meet his parents, and all this other stuff. Yeah, we got a little bit of his backstory, but we never got Jesse's backstory. And I think, in a way, that is a nice balance between the two. That you have one story that's a little bit more complex, and then you have, um, something a little bit more. Um,
I
uh,
think the most we got out of Jessie was the fact that she failed to become a Nurse Joy. Like, she wanted to be a
when
Pokemon
did
nurse.
that when did that
Uh,
happen?
Hold on, I got the Wikipedia right here. It was... Okay, here we go. They joined the bike gang. Jessie went to Team Rock after failing her attempt to become a Pokemon nurse, partly due to the fact that Pokemon nursing school she attended was only for Pokemon who wanted to be nurses. Oh, so she went to the wrong school to become a nurse.
Oh, okay. Question
She
mark.
she literally went to a school for Chanseys. The episode was
Oh,
Pokemon Emergency.
that could be easily rectified. For her to turn into an actual villain is kind of bit
Well, you gotta pay off
too
those
good.
college loans somehow. And in a world like Pokemon where there's not a lot
Mm,
of easy to do jobs.
no, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, side note, back to the Dragon Prince thing. I know this sounds silly. Another thing to advertise about it, which I always thought was funny. Dragon Prince is also, this is the best way to look at it. This Dragon Prince is basically if Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender was the main character of the show, as he tries to deal with the weird stuff that's going around him. Funny enough, the show was actually, and I just looked this up, was co-created by Aaron Eshevs, who also helped create Avatar: The Last Airbender. Funny enough, Caleb, the main character, is voiced by, where is the name? Actually, I had the name right here a second ago. Jack DeSena, aka the voice actor for Sokka.
Wait, who
Hmm?
was the voice actor of Saga, and what did
Who
he
was
do
that?
now?
The the voice actor for Caleb is the same guy who does Sokka,
Who's
and
Caleb?
the main character from Dragon Prince, one of the main characters.
Oh, that's actually interesting.
And it has a lot of tendencies. I think at one point he had a hand on a boomerang. He's like, "Wait a minute, this feels familiar."
Oh, That's basically okay. That's basically a jab,
Yeah.
not a recall for people who have been really paying attention to Avatar. Okay, clever.
Yeah. But you know what I actually would like to see more than anything else right now? We go back onto
But
Pokemon. I would love to see kind of a filler series that follows up on some of the older characters, like whatever happened
like, what
to
are they doing now?
like what happened to
That
Tracy?
that that's a very good question.
Whatever happened to the other kid who looked like Ash but just a palette swap? The baseball
Oh,
girl.
baseball girl.
You don't remember that girl was obsessed with Electabuzz? Oh wait, no, she didn't join.
Um,
Was she with the crew for that one?
No.
I don't think she joined the crew.
Hold on, there was another there was like a one other female that was kind of like short term,
Okay.
or she
There
was
were
with
a
them for
lot
like
of
a few of those.
There's a lot of females throughout Ash's journey. No, not to throw shade or that.
And the name was
There
Casey.
was Casey.
hmm Actually, you know what? Speaking of kind of alluding to harem kind of things, because let's be honest, that's what Pokemon is. Ash's on a harem quest, but
I have to disagree.
he's too dense to understand what's really going on. I still ship him and Misty though, but we're not going to get into that. But I know we were talking about a little bit about psychology earlier with social learning. I actually had an epiphany the other day about harem anime. Now, do you two know anything about Freud's theory about the id, the ego, and the superego?
Of course, that's been taught in almost any bit of psychology, whether it's adolescent or child, or pediatric psychology, or even
hmm
sociology at best. That Freudian's basis, even though I kind of think he's a jerk because, caused a lot of problems when it comes to his viewpoint, when it comes
From
to,
women.
yeah, he had a serious issue with women.
But then again,
Well, actually,
different environment being raised in
yeah,
affected him.
to its detriment, the whole entire era had. Well, even to this very day, seems like everybody has an issue with women. Anyway, that's besides the point.
But yeah, so you have
Yes, I heard of him.
the id, which is basically uses the energy to find pleasure, to find the basic instincts, just to feel good. And it will go to
Okay.
unrealistic means to get what it wants. The superego follows a strict set of rules, and the ego, contrary to popular belief, is trying to balance these two conflicting forces so there's balance. Now, ready? Do you gals remember Tenchi Muyo?
Oh, of
Yes.
course. I love that show.
Now, I want you to think of Princess Ayeka for a second.
Right.
Okay, ready? She, a lot of the times, tends to be very hard pressed about the rules and traditions of the planet Jirai, right?
Of course.
To the
That's how
point
she was
where
raised.
it's a little too much, even with that
Yeah.
whole incest thing.
Well, yeah, that's not a big surprise when it comes
To
to
royalty, but that's
to
beside
royal circles. It's scary. It's scary as all heck, and it's proved to be
detrimental to the blood.
uh it's not detrimental. If anything, they need fresh blood in
Well,
there.
that's why it's blue blood now.
Ugh.
But
And
that's
that's
besides the
not
point.
necessarily good.
Right? Yeah, let's move away from that disgusting imagery and talk
Yeah.
about the next character I want to bring into this conversation, Washu.
What about Washington?
I want you to think about how she acts throughout the show. She's very impulsive and she does whatever she wants to satisfy that lust of just to feel good about creation. To the
Well,
point,
she's assigned to
wait, here's the point
quote.
already. To the
Yeah.
point where she's even willing to go through unrealistic means by warping reality,
Okay, fair.
just like the id would do. Now, when you look at a lot of harem animes, there's a lot of character. Even Ryoko does a similar. I'm doing what makes me feel good, and that's all I'm ever gonna do. And I'm gonna be sneaky to get my way, no matter what I do. That's why she's always sneaking booze around the place when nobody's looking.
Yeah, I suppose.
Now let's look at Tenchi. What does Tenchi do the most in the show than anything else?
He moderates, if any, he tries to moderate everybody's situation. He tries to
Exactly.
basically be the bridge towards everybody.
Or the ego in
That
the
makes sense.
mind of the family.
That makes
So
sense.
essentially, what I'm trying to get at is every harem anime is essentially basically a psychology. Because you have each characters that represent different parts of the subconscious, different stages in development. And when I made that realization, I was like, wow,
Question.
yes.
How do you feel on a psychological level? If you're going to throw harems into it, what does it say about reverse harem? What does it say about those who inverse the ideal of a harem? Because actually, just recently in, I believe, 2012, 2013, reverse harems have become a lot more popular. In recent years, having the female being the main character as well as basically being catered to by a bunch of guys. Guys. I haven't seen like a reverse harem regarding Yuri relationships. I think I've seen Dramatical Murder is one of the few yaoi relationships that I've seen that have just guys,
I think
or
there's one more. It was recent too. It was like I'm part of the king's harem or something like that.
oh,
I
I
just saw a
never.
post up on it. See, but the thing is, it doesn't matter the sexuality of the
No,
harem in
I'm
general.
saying
It's more
in
that usually they follow the trope that there's at least one person that's strict about the rules. There's one that's just gonna do whatever they want for pleasure. There's always gonna be one that's innocent in comparison to the rest, and so forth.
But here's the thing, I have to disagree with that because if you go into like a reverse harem, specifically like for instance Diabolical Lovers, yes, it has undermining of um, various more sort of like a dark, well, not a darker take. It's just that if it is what you say it is, then you should be able to figure out that particular format through any other means, no matter what the circumstances. If your particular analysis holds up. I'm saying this because out of sheer curiosity, I've seen other variants of different types of harems, reverse harems or not, that have, depending on the position and the personality of the character, they more or less become, if not do different things. So I'm curious to know what it would be like if you were to hold up that same template to other harems or reverse harems. I'm just asking.
I feel like we should do a little bit more research on this because
I'm curious.
after taking starting off this intro to human development course, it's kind of opened up my mind a little bit, and it made me realize a lot of things that I didn't know. It kind of reinforced some things I had a hunch about,
Okay.
which I'm not gonna talk smack about people because, well, that's
No,
part of it.
I wasn't
No, no,
trying to.
I'm not saying you or what you were saying, but just I feel like there's a lot of more psychology in anime and animation and pop culture than we really realize.
Yeah.
And I'm actually curious. I kind of want to find the creators of the series and kind of ask them, did you use psychology as a base for these things, or are these just
Or their
choices by
own
fetish
personal
or tropes?
personal experiences, because a lot of cases when you're writing an animation or manga or a story, a lot of cases you deal with characters or or you make up characters or you make up stories that have to do with your own particular um, experiences that you've had. So it might not necessarily be overall
Psychology.
it's not overall psychology. It's maybe the person's psyche at work, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case,
True, but
or their own particular ideology.
a lot of ideologies and thoughts are nothing more than how someone takes the world around them, internalizes it, and then submits it to the world from their perspective to a degree. Like, you know what we can do? I know this is going to sound a little messed up. It's another kind of hot topic recently. Let's
Okay.
look at Pepe Le Pew.
Oh, here we go. That was a conversation that I had with yesterday.
Everybody's talking about that skunk.
Yeah.
So let's go around, let's get everybody's take on this first now. Pebbles, what do you think about Pepe Le Pew right now with the whole cancellation thing?
Alright, I'm gonna start off with, when I was little, I loved Looney Tunes. I still love Looney Tunes. And Pepe Le Pew was one of my favorites in Looney Tunes when I would watch them as a little kid. Now, being however old I was when I was watching this, to me, it was just a cartoon. There was nothing about it. He did his funny jumping,
Little
the way
bunny
he
hop
jumped,
thing.
and funny prancing jumping or whatever. And he was just over the top with his affections and just chasing the cat who he kept thinking was a skunk because she'd always end up getting paint spilled on her and it would look like a skunk. So
Penelope
it was just
perfume.
to me it was like, this is a case of mistaken identity and it's funny. As a little kid, that's all I thought. And honestly, that's all it was. And I still think that. And there's no reason to cancel a cartoon character. It's a cartoon character. People are just insane. And cancel culture is just getting worse and worse. And pretty soon, everything we grew up with is going to be gone.
I'd agree with that to a degree.
Because I'm just going to throw this out here. Ren and Stimpy was a hell of a lot worse than anything Pepe Le Pew cartoons showed or had in them. Okay? Alright? Just Powdered Toast Man.
Well,
that should be more than enough. But I love Ren and Stimpy.
I don't know. I can't remember. All I remember is the Happy Joy Joy song.
Happy Joy
Even
Joy.
that was a messed up scene when you really think about it.
Why?
Yes.
You gotta remember why that happened.
But it's great. But I'm just saying,
I don't
cancel
remember.
culture is just trying to find so many like the tiniest flaw in something that's been around. The thing, Pepe has been around for who knows
60
how
years, I think.
long. How long? How long? I don't know.
Well,
But
there's a couple of things going on around here, to be completely honest.
And I do understand where people are coming from and but I'm just as a kid watching it, that's not what you see.
Yeah, no,
And it's a
completely
cartoon
understand
aimed at kids. And so I don't see, like, parents never had a problem with it before.
Well, it's okay. Like I said, there's a couple of things working around here. I agree. First of all, you're taking something that um
Out of context.
not only out of context, I get it, you know, but also here's this. They should if it's that much of an issue, they should have a disclaimer.
Yes, that's what they should
Also,
do.
yeah, that this was also a time period where
That's what
things were a little bit
Disney
different.
that's
And
what Disney does. That's what Disney is
yeah, and
doing.
I don't, and
Disney
as a person of like as uh a person of color, I'll even put the as a person of color, there are many discussions that I have with Disney. One of the biggest ones that really hurt me specifically was Fantasia, because I really love that movie. I remember good times with my grandmother, and one of my biggest favorite scenes was the centaur scene, because the characters were really beautiful. The girls were very beautiful. Like me personally, when I saw nudity when I was a child, when I saw the statues, and gods and goddesses back in the day, when you took me to the museum, we saw the Egyptian and Hindu gods and goddesses and all those statues. It didn't bother me. I just thought they were beautiful as is, and I was just staring at those types of things. The same thing with the centaur. What bothered me is as I got older and started to learn about more mythology, I noticed that also Africa has mythology just like every other culture. And the fact that there was no black centaurs in there, but they did, but it was a caricature of an old racist system. I mean, we're still, unfortunately, there's still parts of this country that is still under our old racist system. It hurt me, yes, to find out that one of my favorite scenes from Fantasia has racist connotations to it. It hurts. I will not deny that. Do I want them to censor it? No. Because when you start chipping away from the history, you give people that are opportunistic to rewrite the history, thinking everything was roses and flowers when actually in reality it's not. And then you're doomed to basically repeat these same mistakes later on in life. If you feel and also here's another thing, if you're that also turned off by it or really concerned about it, then don't let your children watch it. That's also another thing. As an artist, you should be able to express yourself thusly and define it whatever you see fit, and censor it from your kids if you see fit as well.
See, I kind of
Also, you
disagree with the
have to
center part,
understand
though.
that it's a time period that was a lot different from our own presently. We're getting to we're because of the internet and how fast it's constantly rapping and rapidly
Evolving.
changing, rapidly evolving. We're learning more and more about ourselves a lot quicker. And I mean not ourselves as us as individuals, to a certain extent, yes, but I mean understanding ourselves as humans. We're becoming a little bit more. We're trying to be a little bit more aware of people's um ethnic,
Feelings.
feelings, concerns. We get to see now. We get to see. Oh well, this person or this particular person or individual was under scrutiny, severe scrutiny, and nobody should be able to act the way they did. Um, and that's understandable and that's fine. But also at the same time, um, you have to be aware of all these things and where they're coming from. And then also, you also have a bunch of people who feel that they're doing the right thing because of what's been happening with uh, now they're becoming aware of, oh, there has been a large alarming amount of people that have been hurt by acts similar to this, but they don't know where it's coming from. They're not necessarily have a full grasp of why these bad things are constantly happening. So sometimes people grab at straws trying to figure out what they can do to change, to make quote unquote things get better. But instead of actually tackling the real situation, such as other human beings doing a lot of doing a lot of harm for each other, or hey, these people have psychological problems, they need to be addressed, or how they are not able to express their feelings and emotions properly or in a healthy manner, they look quickly to the very thing that they can easily control.
Like comic books and gaming,
Yeah,
which is the more recent.
like comic books, because this has been happening for a long period of time. Actually, just not too long ago, um, what is it? Still keeping it in the anime and geek community and all that. If you look at interspecies reviewers, right?
Great show.
Interspecies, it is actually, believe it or not, as much as I'm a little, I get kind of flustered a little bit about the topic, but I will not deny I love the artwork. I love monster girls. They're just so adorable and cute. And also, this is a different angle, especially the fact that this is a different angle of comedy, and I appreciate that. It's
Oh,
taking on a topic from a different point of view. It's very easy to, do sexual jokes in a pun or making fun of somebody else's misery, but to actually have people reviewing brothels of various different girls, the concept is pretty hilarious.
and you know what the nice thing about it is, it's not like they ever really go too far of the way to dig
No,
at
not at
people,
all. They
and they
don't.
kind of treat everybody respectfully. Like, you know what?
Right. This
You
is
know,
a
a lot of people
performance.
view sex work differently,
Yeah.
but in
This
the
is.
end, before anything else, well, maybe not in this situation, but in
Yeah.
general, they're still living sentient beings who are just trying to get by, or they enjoy the power they get from enjoying the ability to do this. And it kind of, I feel like the show is. Do you feel like it would slightly destigmatize brothels to a degree,
In a way, yes. Because I
or at least
feel.
sex work to a degree?
Yeah, because now I guess what made it a little bit better is it's out in the open. It's not a taboo subject
And
anymore.
it's not a
It's
hentai.
more. It's not a hentai, but it's like, oh, we're taking this head on, especially if it's something that wasn't really talked about in
Mainstream
mainstream,
conversations.
and also the fact that, hey, you know, this is something that we all feel. We have sexual urges in some shape or form, and
Some of us are
various
unlucky
different
to find a
people,
healthy outlet for it.
yeah, versus others not so much. And it does help in that way to make it a little less um feeling ugly about themselves regarding that. But that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But sticking to the main topic.
No, this actually kind of leads into what I was going to go with Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah.
To me, at least with Pepe Le Pew, or cancel culture in general, there's no need to cancel anything because you know what? A lot of people don't understand the term context anymore, which causes a
Yes.
lot of misunderstanding because they're only seeing from what they learn from today's world. Now, when you look at the world back then, it was more acceptable of certain things to be done to
I
a
won't say
degree. To a
that
degree,
entirely, but their viewpoint was a little bit different, and they
yeah,
worked
that's
with what
more the
they had.
contextual side of it, though. Like it was a different world then. Like
Right.
for instead of canceling them straight out, maybe find a way to modernize the character where they learn, or like you constantly show that this behavior doesn't end well. Like Pebbles, how would you feel if they turned Pepe Le Pew to kind of like a Johnny Bravo situation?
That would be hilarious, though.
What do you mean?
Okay, so picture this. Instead of him constantly chasing after that one cat, he goes
Hmm.
after all women. Same mannerisms, very affectionate, but he gets shot
Okay.
down. He
Just
gets
see,
constantly shot down /
the
beat
thing
up
with
for his bad
Johnny
behavior.
Bravo is like
He's a machismo man, and
Yeah,
it's
he's
not it's not so much that, it's just like you're right, he gets shot down each time, but every time he tries anything, like almost half the time the women end up flipping him on his back.
well, I'm saying the
So
structure of him getting
no, so
comeuppance.
basically that's kind of showing self-defense. Like women can stand up to like for themselves. Don't see that in the same way.
Okay, I was more thinking of
Yeah.
it as a way like
I
when
mean,
he does his thing, he gets tossed around or hurt, and eventually kind of learns like, you know what?
well, he doesn't learn,
Well, not saying like as like
that's
depending how the show goes,
but
as
he
it
doesn't.
no, but that's what I'm
The
saying.
whole the
To
show
modernize the
revolves
character.
around him trying and failing. That's the whole premise of the show.
Yeah, but I'm saying more in like a modern style, like with what's that recent Looney Tunes show they did? Uh, it's the one where they brought Lola back as like a
A
stalker
bimbo,
cheerleader girl.
as a blonde bimbo.
No, that was Space Jam.
No,
Wait,
Lola in Space Jam
no, you're right.
actually
You're right. You're right. I
had
made a mistake.
more of a character. In the Looney Tunes cartoon from the past, like the most recent one that came out, they brought Lola back, and I was happy to finally see her incorporated into the cartoon, but I was disappointed because they basically turned her into like a blonde bimbo who was madly in love with Bugs and would do anything to get to have Bugs like look at her and give her attention.
Hmm.
And that was completely different from the Lola that they introduced in Space Jam,
yeah,
who
at
was
least
basically had confidence, who was like, um, I can play on the same basketball court as you guys. I'm just as good as you guys, just
yeah,
because
she
I'm a
was very
girl.
assertive. She was very
So
assertive
she
back
she was
then.
more assertive. She knew what she wanted. She went for it. She wasn't like
A doll.
just she wasn't adult.
Oh,
She
she
wasn't
got offended
she
when we
wasn't
called her a doll.
well, the only thing she wanted was Bugs Bunny's attention. No, that's not what she wanted. She
I
just
think
wanted to be seen as an equal.
I think that see, I think
So
that's
that's what the Lola that we got in Space Jam, that's what we got. And then in the new Looney Tunes cartoon a few years ago, we basically get a downgraded version.
I think this is what's problematic. You instead of teaching the fact of context, it's quickly to like I was okay. Listen, I have no problem like I understand cancel culture. I actually redefine it as we need more critique culture.
I like that better.
Critiquing, yeah, we need critique culture instead of cancel culture because of the fact that if we have something that displeases us, why does it displease us? Why do these things have an issue? Why do you have an issue with it? And explaining yourself or under trying to understand the material of why it's considered offensive before you actually full on you know um
Get rid of it.
dismiss it from your view. Again with Lola Bunny, 100% without context, yes, she is a bombshell. She is elaborated on her feminine wiles, but within context, excuse me, you get to see what she actually stood for. Yes, she wanted to play and she knew how to play and she wanted respect and she made it quite clear. Yes, she used her feminine wiles to get what she wanted, but her confidence, what is it? She's like, hey, I wanted to try out for the team, and somebody actually came at her in a very sexist manner. It's like, you want to play, how about a little one-on-one doll? And she got pissed.
I think that was Bugs,
But
actually.
instead, yeah, Bugs confronted her saying, hey, you want to play a little one-on-one doll? And she got pissed.
Oh yeah,
And
whenever he called her doll, she'd get upset.
yeah, she got pissed, but she didn't, she beat him. What I love about her is she beat him at his own game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, it doesn't. She
She
didn't.
showed true strength. She showed
Right.
true character and conviction.
The thing is, and this is also why I love certain materials like Hellsing, Sailor Moon, uh, uh, My Little Pony. My biggest fear in a lot of those shows was, in order for them to be strong women, they had to sacrifice their femininity to be strong. And all the series that I just mentioned does none of that. Does none of it. Saris Victoria, she's still a cutesy young lady, but she carries one heck of a gun. Sailor Moon, forget it. The whole entire Sailor Scouts like to go shopping, talk about makeup, and you like to buy makeup and go and fashion, and they want to talk about boys. But what do? They clock in and save the world like 50% of the time. My Little
But is that the
Pony, they have
mindset people have nowadays about
no.
strong, independent women?
It's a strong. It seems like if you show any type of feminine wiles, whether it's from a physical point, it seems that that automatically means that, oh, we're sexualizing it. Yes, I understand that majority, this anger that comes, the anger that has come for all these particular um, series is a little different. Yes, you have people who were like, oh, you shouldn't show that on TV, but this comes from an area where a group of disfranchised people felt they were under suppression for so long, to the point where now they have a platform, and they're basically, and this is going with somebody who hasn't able to have a outlet to express themselves, and now that they have a freedom to have this openness, this freedom to express themselves, it's they don't know how to harness that because they were never taught how. They were never, you know, taught when or where or
The
when to
appropriateness
use.
of when to do
Right,
things, how to do things, and how to
right.
use you have to do things.
Things. Instead, they're attacking everything. And not everything is under the same umbrella or should be treated under the same umbrella, because that's what makes our world our world. Diversity and different dynamics that make our world the world is understanding those various different situations. That's why when you receive any bits of information, you take it with a grain of salt. You take it with a little bit of context. But if you're not taught these things and you feel like you haven't had a voice to speak for a long period of time, as soon as you get freedom, what happens? You lose your freaking mind. Because you haven't had this freedom before. You haven't got a chance to speak. You haven't been able to express yourself freely, because the the people or the powers that be made it so that it made it difficult for them to speak. So I feel that there's faults on both sides in that regard.
Mm.
But at the same time, not everything is a nail. I guess the best way I can express it. Not everything is a nail. Sometimes you have to really look at something, and you have to understand first before you dictate whether it's a nail or not.
Me personally, I say screw it. Look at everything with a broken looking glass, so then you get different perspectives on the same object.
Well,
Because let's be
again,
honest,
it's
everybody
just
kind of sits in that. Oh, sorry.
well, no, it's just basically I said that regarding the nail and a hammer.
Yeah.
I agree with you. All I'm doing
You know, I was just trying. I was trying again for a bad pun, but
Gosh.
you know what? I think we should wrap it up tonight because
Yeah,
we
it's getting
had some. What was the best way to put this?
mishmash of stuff.
Plenty of slips of wisdom that I think people need to take away from this. Some fun recommendations, and that I like to have more beers, please. Oh, sorry, I forgot to hold up my two fingers. Anyone? Any
It's
closing
gonna take
statements?
time.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I
so
just
yeah.
it's gonna take time, and people have to be willing to. But right now, everybody's a little bit, on edge now.
Hopefully in the fall things will get better.
I hope so too.
I mean, shit, I got both my shots, so I'm ready to roll.
I still have to. I still have to be fine.
I'm still waiting to be eligible.
Yeah.
So which hopefully will be in about a couple weeks, but then you have the problem of we need more vaccine sites. I'm not worried about vaccine.
Just
We
finding
have
an
a lot of
appointment.
vaccine options available, but we don't have that many vaccine sites.
No.
We need more open, especially if they're going to go in 2 weeks to being like everyone 16 and up is going to be eligible. That's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, if they don't open up more vaccine sites, it's just going to be it's going to be hell.
Yeah.
I'd rather wait and they do the eligibility slowly. Like, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's not going to change anything. So, like, I'd rather wait and they do this, like, increase, like, eligibility slowly so they don't kill the system.
They never care about the system. They just want results.
I
But then
know.
again, what do I know? I'm just a guy at the airport.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. No reason to throw in the towel. Not yet.
You know what? I'm gonna end this with one last thing. And it's probably gonna make everybody laugh. Or I'm gonna get hurt.
Okay? Question mark.
Alright.
Nope. I just wet my pants.
Okay.
I was trying to do a raspberry and it didn't work.
Oh.
What? I thought everybody thought farts were funny.
It's a hit and miss, really.
Yeah, I know. But I figure let's not end on a somber note and always try to end on a positive thing. I guess you know what? This is my last bit of wisdom for the night. Never be someone who's always awake. I'd rather be a man who sleeps than a man who's awake. So a man who sleeps can dream of possibilities of a better tomorrow. So then when they wake, they can put those things into action.
That's a pretty good one.
All right. Good night, everybody.
You send sugar on my smile.